And it's the Ides of March today. Today, otherwise known as the day ChatGPT predicted that the stock market would crash. Did it know what it was talking about? The stock market didn't crash today, but people were nervous. Some people are nervous. Are you nervous? Like, what are you doing? I'm going to do some polls, see what you guys prefer. See if you're pulling your money out of the banks. I can tell you stories. And then you can decide whether to believe me or not. I'll tell you what's happening. We can talk a little bit more about fractional reserve banking. I looked into the history of it. Like, when did we invent fractional reserve banking? Why do we have it? Why do banks do what they do? What was Silicon Valley Bank crazy or bad, or were they normal? And so, does that mean other banks are going to be in the same situation? Will they limit withdrawals? It's possible. Don't take it for granted. It could be like the calm before the storm. That's what yesterday was. I felt like people were like, "Oh, everything's going to be fine. The government says it's going to be okay." So I'll tell you what they're calling for. I mean, we could say, I think the episode of Peter Schiff's latest podcast is like the end of capitalism. It is, basically. And all these billionaires, they're okay with risk as long as they get rewarded. But now they're not okay with risk. Like, once they get all their money, then they insist there can't be any more risk. So yeah, we're about to have socialized banking, maybe. Losses are impossible. Everyone wins all the time. That's what we're going for. So I'll tell you about it. So I'll tell you all the latest. Maybe address the conspiracy theories too, or the conspiracy theory, and then we can just talk about what's going to happen next. And then I'll ask you guys, what do you guys like? Did you pull your money out of the bank? I saw somebody say, Peaceful Patriot says, not nervous. They're trying to scare us. Am I trying to scare you? Am I fear mongering? I know the banks are bad. I mean, they've been bad, and it's an inherently fragile system, fractional reserve banking. If you have a lot of money, people are finding out. But you say, not nervous. They're trying to scare us. That's what somebody else said. They're trying to induce panic. Who's they in that case? Does the government want to induce panic? Does the government want to crash the banks? The conspiracy theory is that they're doing it on purpose, right? I could have called this episode that. They did it on purpose. And it's to bring in USDCs. So we'll discuss that. It's worth discussing. They crashed the banks on purpose to usher in CBDCs. That's the conspiracy theory about it. Is and woke, and it was because it was a woke bank. It might have been kind of. They did have a lot of women on the board of directors, but only one black person. I was surprised. Not really that diversified. Only a few LGBTQs, but it was almost half women. And apparently nobody on the board had any experience with banking before. So that maybe they'll think about that in the future. But I'm just I bet like people are looking at Silicon Valley Bank like they're really bad. I bet there are other banks that were doing way crazier stuff. They say it's different than 2008. Some people are saying, oh, it's different. We'll talk about whether it really is different, and if that means that it's different, like this one's not going to be as bad, or if it's different, like this one's going to be worse. So I'm curious what you're doing. I'm curious if you own cryptocurrency. I'm curious if you own gold and silver. Curious if you have dollars in the bank. curious about what you're doing. I called around. We're interested in getting some more precious metals, maybe. So I've been calling around to coin dealers, seeing what they have in stock. One dealer told me that he had a run on gold sold out in a day. Yesterday or the day before, he said he had a run on gold and sold out. He still had silver. And then another dealer told me that he had a bit of a run on stuff too. So people are thinking about it. People are like, oh, oh, crap. But so far, it's like nothing crazy. Gold hasn't shot up to the moon or anything. People still want dollars, U.S. treasuries. So anyway, thanks for coming. I'll put some polls in and we'll see what happens. Twisted TV says, women shouldn't be in business. They should be home in the kitchen making sandwiches. Did you see what Joe Biden posted? Oh my God. I got to show you this letter Joe Biden got. Supposedly. I got to find it. I got to show you guys that. That is so funny. I'll just give you all the stuff that's going on in the news. Oh, yeah. And there's other news too. James O'Keefe started a new news organization called OMG. I'll tell you about that. GPT-4 is out. I haven't used it yet, but people have. And what a coincidence, huh? That GPT-4 comes out right in time for the financial crisis. GPT-4, which is like going to replace everybody except DoorDash drivers. I think DoorDash drivers are safe. I've done some research on it. I can tell you guys about the research I've done on DoorDash and the economics of it too, and how you can get free food if you want. If you really want to work the system. All that and more on this edition of the Lift the Veil Show. It's still called the Lift the Veil Show. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman, and I bring you the news, the real news. Yeah, and there's Ron DeSantis news, like the Ron DeSantis versus Donald Trump thing is heating up. So I'm watching that, and I'm choosing not to participate. I think that's the role I've decided to take, is not as a participant, but simply as an amused observer. And I am observing in amused way, the fighting between Ron DeSantis supporters and Trump supporters. So as the right splinters, and Ron DeSantis pulled ahead of Donald Trump in a poll, in the first national poll where Ron DeSantis did better than Trump happened. So, and Ron DeSantis came out and said something. He's going on interview tours and stuff. I have some Ron DeSantis news. So I have a bunch of stuff. So I'll cover it all. I was looking for the letter to start out by showing you that. Let me see if I can show you. Biden got a letter from a kid that talked about equal pay, how women don't get paid enough. I'll go to Twitter. You guys have to see it. If you want to support the show, do that. I have alternatives, but I'm here for you. I'm here for your entertainment because you demand it. Oh, woke. Saying woke is the same as the N-word. That's funny too. Can I show you guys that? Let's see this letter. Oh, here it is. Oh my God. Tell me if this is for real. It looks like a prank. I mean, it reminds me, there's a person on Twitter who runs a parody profile who often does parody posts of letters written to her by her daughter, where it'll say like, I love Joe Biden or something like that. So here's this letter. I'll show you that first. Oh yeah, and if you want to support the show, super chats are good. And you can also go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Support your streamer. Yeah, yesterday I did something else instead to see if I could make more money. So it's a competition now. But now I want to tell you guys what's in the news though too. It's not just about finances, but I want to have as much as possible to buy stuff like Bitcoin and silver. Here we go. Let me see. Here it is. This is funny. This is the letter to President Biden. It says, Dear President Biden, I just wanted to tell you something not fair to ladies. Men are getting more money than girls. I think you should fix this. Since you're the president, even I'm a child, and I think we should do something. From Charlotte. What do you think? It's just not fair. It's not fair that we have like a free market economy where women can make as much money as they want. Theoretically. I don't know if there's anything, they can ask for as much money as they want. They can get a different job. There's opportunities. There's like diversity quotas. I mean, how about that? The board of Silicon Valley Bank had 45% women. So that's a lot of women. That's more women that are normally even interested in banking. And maybe they really weren't that interested. So there's lots of opportunities. Yeah, I don't believe in the wage. I don't believe in the wage gap. I believe people choose to do different things. Meteor Dreams says, did you see the woman on Rising that couldn't define woke? I don't know if I saw that. I saw what I guess there was a yeah okay. This is how it started. The woke thing, okay. And some people now are defining woke. Like they're coming up with their own definitions because this person, who I guess is a conservative, Bethany Mandel, was asked to define woke and like wasn't able to. Apparently, I haven't even heard this. So this is where the debate is about woke. And we're blaming the people are saying it was because of the woke bank. And then somebody else is saying that when conservatives say woke, it's like using the N-word. I'll play you this. Let's see what this says. I haven't seen it yet, so let's see it.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and reduce society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times.
Thanks, Meteor Dreams. So, yep, that was her. She goes, oh, this is going to go viral. Yep, no kidding. It did go viral. And it led to several people coming up with a definition for woke. So let's see if I search. It led to people having a discussion about it. And then also this other tweet was highlighted by people. This tweet where this guy was like, oh, people saying woke. It's like saying the N-word. It just makes you want to use the N-word, kind of. It's like, oh, really? Oh, woke is the same as the N-word? Okay, well, I'll just say the N-word then. Okay, I guess that's, you know what I mean? Like, what do they even mean? The N-word, saying the N-word about who? This is like what people say about it. Like this guy. This guy got 75,000 likes, 2.7 million impressions. People have a hard time defining woke without accidentally saying they want to be able to hate minorities and not face any consequences. Yeah, it's just so terrible out there. I mean, what the fuck? Like, can't people like, I just see people, everybody's so polarized. Here's some guy, here's some meme about it. Woke is shorthand for wokeness or wokeism. Wokeism is the belief that, number one, all of society is currently and intentionally structured to oppress. Number two, all gaps in performance between large groups illustrate this. And number three, the solution is equity, proportional representation without regard to performance. Well, that's one version of woke. I mean, there's one version of woke. But people have other woke values, right? It did used to mean something entirely different. I mean, I remember when it was like woke meant you knew about government corruption and like 9/11, that you were awake to reality. Now, then at some point it got co-opted, I guess, by liberals who said that being woke is being awake to like structural inequity. I guess like structural racism. So being woke means like realizing that you're racist, probably, that white people are racist. That's definitely a big part of it. And then part of it is the gender stuff. That has wokeness to it. Viva Fry thought he would make a definition and turn it into a meme. He said, woke is the ideology of insincere fabrication of victims and victimhood through manufactured oppression, discrimination, for the ultimate purpose of acquiring power through such victimhood and attaining undeserved social standing through faux outrage and virtue signaling. Okay, that's cool too. Kind of a long definition, but I accept that. Yeah, it definitely has to do with, there are some things I like for colleges, for example, and I don't even know like the high school I went to, but for colleges, for example, let's say you're Harvard or Yale or whatever, if you judge everybody the same, then you'll have like almost no Black or Hispanic students at your school, so because of test scores and performance and stuff. So in the search for diversity for its own benefits, because you want to have some Black people graduate from your school from Harvard and Yale and stuff because, it represents the population, then I don't actually necessarily see an issue with that, And then the other thing is like, as far as woke goes, like where I went to a super competitive acting program where they selected people based on like what jobs would be available in the industry. So, and probably now they have to take a lot more minority students for that. So that was one reason. So it's kind of woke, but also it kind of makes sense. Like back when I went to school, the class was mostly male because most of the acting roles were for men. So like we had a larger proportion of male students, which meant it was harder for women to get in. It was like more competitive for women because there were fewer spaces available. So that kind of woke stuff, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, it's woke, but it's for a reason, and and diversity for diversity's sake. I do think there is value in having a diversity. The trouble is they find a diversity of color and diversity of sexuality and gender without diversity of thought. You know what I mean? So that's the trouble that they get into. It's like, oh, we'll have diversity, but everybody thinks exactly the same. So it's not really diverse. But I do believe like having diverse perspectives is good. Different cultures. I do believe that there might be something to that. Diversity for diversity's sake. And if that means you have to lower standards in order to admit like Black and Hispanic students, let's say, if you're an elite university, then I don't think it's racist per se against whites and Asians, even though it is. I mean, even though it is discriminatory against whites and Asians, especially Asians the most because they score the highest. So, but as far as saying that there's systematic racism, that's still a problem. I mean, they're trying to do reparations in San Francisco. That's racist. That's racist. But yeah, they are talking about reparations in San Francisco. So anyway, that's the woke stuff. And then somebody said it was like saying the N-word, which is pretty funny. Yeah, San Francisco board, $5 million. Can you believe it? Come on, man. It's kind of like Clown World sometimes. We didn't have slavery in California. And I think we treated Asians worse in California because we had them here mining and building the railroads and stuff. And then the Japanese got put in camps. There were a bunch of Japanese in California. So why don't we give them money? It really is racist. When you start doing stuff like this, that is racist. And I don't believe in racism to solve historical problems. Although I did mention I understand some stuff like what I said with the preferred college preference is what do they call that? Not quota. I forget. But for public schools, though, it's different. I don't know if for public schools it's fair, but for private schools, if private schools want to discriminate, I think they can in the name of diversity. Public schools, though, I think it's another story. So, and that's kind of what they did with my old high school. There you go. Yeah. San Francisco board open to reparations with $5 million payouts. $5 million. Can you imagine? Wouldn't you what would you you'd try to make some black friends really quick, right? I mean, that's what would happen. People would just take advantage. They would just get scammed, and of course, people would be like, "Oh, I heard, they're going to give these suckers $5 million. They have no idea what to do with it. We're going to scam." You know what I mean? That's what people are thinking. They're thinking, how do I get some of that? Or how do I say, how do I qualify? But it's going to be discriminatory even between black people. Like there's all these hoops you have to jump through. And you can't just move there and be black. You have to have been there for a while. Or you could have been, I think part of it is for people who are incarcerated. It's crazy. So anyway, that's what's going on with wokeness. With Silicon Valley Bank. Oh, we're going to talk about banking too. I forgot. Banking's the big story. I'll show you this. At SVB, they boasted that their board was very diverse. So Daily Mail published, revealed only one member of SVB's board had a career in investment banking, and the rest were Obama and Clinton mega donors who grieved when Trump won, including one who went to Shinto shrine to pray. So, like I said, diversity, but not nobody's different, diversity in on the outside, but on the inside they're all the same, or they all have the same thoughts and the same ideas. So how about diversity, like diversity of opinion? See, because if you have the wrong diverse opinion, they say you're racist. Like that could be diversity, right? But then they wouldn't even stand for that. Because if you're diverse, if how you're diverse is that you don't like using pronouns, you don't think kids should be transitioned, and you don't believe in affirmative action. That's what I was talking about before. Like if that's your kind of diversity, they'll just say you're racist, fascist. They think they'll say that they can use violence or shout you down. And these are the people, speaking of elite schools, there's this whole thing that happened at Stanford. You probably heard about it. It's crazy. This whole thing that happened at Stanford where they shouted down this conservative judge, and the diversity, equity, and inclusion officer lectured him. He wasn't allowed to speak. And then they apologized. Stanford apologized. And then the students were really pissed off. I can't believe you apologized. These are people going to Stanford Law School. They could be Supreme Court lawyers in the future. I mean, they could be Supreme Court judges. People going to Stanford Law School think it's cool to shut people down if they disagree. So those are the people that are coming up now. Speaking of woke. Scary, 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 scary. What's the future going to be like? Well, it is going to be. I'll show you different stories. Wellesley College, speaking of woke in a really weird way. Wellesley College, this is interesting. It's going to be, it's interesting for what else might happen to what previously there were girls' schools. Right now, there are historically black colleges, which Donald Trump actually extended the funding for. There are historically black colleges, but I think white people can go. Like, I think they're actually maybe not allowed to discriminate, especially because they're funded by the government. So actually, as a white person, I believe you can go to Howard University, for example, which is a very good university that's historically black people. But I believe as a white person, you're allowed to apply and they can't discriminate against you. Now, with women's colleges, it's different. Traditionally, they've discriminated against anyone with a penis. And they've been allowed to do that. And they've felt cool doing that. Well, actually, I don't know. The weird thing is it's not even about transgender women because they were already admitting, apparently, transgender women, which is, men who are now saying they think they're women. They're acting like women, or what they think women act like. So they already did that. Then they decided, they took a vote on whether they were going to allow transgender men, which I would think, okay, transgender men makes sense, right? Because they're women originally, they're born female. So transgender men, I was thinking, oh, that makes sense. Like transgender men, it's definitely cool if they compete in female sports, right? Like nobody complains. In fact, there's this swimmer who beat Leah Thomas, who is a transgender man who swam in the women's swimming team. And that's cool as long as they're not taking performance enhancing hormones and stuff. So nothing wrong with that. Nobody complains about that, about a transgender men competing with women, because biologically. So I thought, okay, that makes sense that they would allow transgender men, but they were already allowing transgender women, which I think doesn't make sense. And now they say they're going to allow non-binary people. So, which isn't even that's not, I don't even know what that is. It's not even a thing. Being non-binary, like that doesn't mean anything. Anybody can say they're non-binary. I've seen non-binary people. So people who say they're non-binary. There's what does it mean? It doesn't even mean anything. So it could just be men. So basically, Wellesley College admits men, and there's no reason I can think of that they wouldn't just have to admit straight biological men based on them allowing everybody else at this point. So women's colleges might be dead. Women's colleges might be over. I have other trans videos. Let's see. Do you guys want to see? You want to see videos making fun of transgender people? Or are you guys over it? We don't have to do that. There's a video of somebody complaining about being misgendered. If you want to see it, I'll show it to you. People are spreading it around. You want to see it? I haven't even watched it yet. It's got 1 million views, so it must be good. Let me show you that. And as a reminder, you can drop a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, and I'll read the note. Or you can become a member too. Let's see this video. Somebody getting upset about being misgendered. Let's see.
Here, it's like every single day, you guys, and this is what I complain about all the time. Look, what's his name? What's your name? Alex? Yeah, your name's Alex, and I'm gonna be talking to your manager. This guy called me sir. I get this happens every fucking day. Everywhere I go, I get called sir. I'm so fucking tired. Why would you call a chick big ass tits? Fucking. Why would you call
big ass tits?
No, stop trying to gaslight trans people and tell us that we're crazy. Crazy. You need to fucking be mindful of other people and stop being a fucking scumbag. And you're a liar. I heard you. Stop fucking gaslighting trans people. Wait, what? Did you call me sir again? What was that? You said goodnight, sir? Alex, I'm gonna be talking to corporate about you, you motherfucker. Fuck you. Okay? That's bullshit. You don't fucking harass trans people at work. Yeah, you did. And I'm walking out and you're like, have a good night, sir? What the fuck is that? No, You don't fucking do this to trans people. This is discrimination.
I didn't say
No, this is discrimination. I'm fucking done with it. No, I'm gonna talk to corporate about this. You don't harass trans people. Hey, you know it's one of the stupid things when you're catching Karens.
I didn't even say nothing.
You called me sir, and you're talking shit, calling me sir on the way. This is transphobic harassment.
Oh my
You're a fucking bigot.
Oh my
At work. All right, Alex. You know what? I can't wait to just. He admits twice calling me sir. No, he lied about the first one. No, you called me sir twice. Twice. Yeah, but you shouldn't be fucking harassing people with slurs. It's a slur. Do you not understand? It's like if you call the person of color the N-word. Don't fucking. You did on the way out. I don't care. I have the right to be pissed about it. You fucking did.
I said I'll lock the door.
You fucking did, you liar. And I'm gonna hold you accountable. Cis people need to be held accountable for how they treat trans people. And I'm not gonna put up with this shit anymore.
You're crazy, bro.
You're fucking.
You're crazy, bro.
Stop fucking throwing slurs at me, you fucking piece of shit. No, fuck you. I ain't your cis. I ain't your fucking bro. You don't even fucking know me. Oh, you want to flash gang signs at me? All right. Yeah, fuck your ass. Oh, you want to talk about sucking dick now? Why is it that you fucking weird cis people are so obsessed with sex? You have like a discrimination going on, and your brain goes to fucking dick sucking. Don't fucking call me sir. This is transphobia. Yeah, you know you ever heard blasphemy, motherfucker. Fuck you.
All right, so there you go. That was the video. It was bad. Somebody laughed. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. People asked me to play the video. I hadn't even seen it before. Merrily Musico. Can't stand comedy. Come on, it's funny. Come on, man. What are we going to do? Like, the banks are failing. The world's ending. People are freaking out about everything. We can't even laugh because somebody... It's hilarious, dude. Give me a break. It is hilarious. We have to at least be able to laugh at something. God. What, you just want to talk about Credit Suisse? You're the only one. There's like one guy here who wants to talk about banks. I can tell you about it. Credit Suisse, it got backed up. I mean, it was going to fail. And then the Swiss government said they're going to bail them out. And probably every bank is going to get bailed out. And you want to own gold. If you want silver or Bitcoin, or you can have dollars, which are fine. Everybody still wants dollars. You want to talk about that? We can get serious. Look at these huge tits. Did you hear him say that? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. What if he was like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I mean, oh man, it's so hard. Well, it's good those fast food workers stood up for themselves. The person was overly sensitive. That's what it was. You can't be so sensitive. That was the thing about the gays, is like, they put up with a lot more abuse without like making a scene, for a lot longer. The trans don't, some of them really make a scene. And it's mostly the ones that started out as men, to be fair. Trans men, like, literally nobody cares about trans men. You never see trans men causing problems, right? You never hear anybody complain. People just feel sorry for them mostly, but nobody's like, oh, these trans men, just ridiculous. They're like docile. They don't cause problems. They're more about solving. Wonder what that's about. Why is it only? What makes trans women different than regular women? You guys want to talk about the banks? Okay. So do you prefer? What do you prefer? Gold, silver, or Bitcoin, or Ethereum, or what do you guys think is going to happen? Today, crypto is down. I think because everybody's selling everything today. Actually down the most today, as much as bank stocks. So a few banks were down. First Republic, and another bank, and some other banks were down too. The big one was the bank in Europe that failed. Or yeah, I guess it's basically going to fail, but the Swiss government is going to back them up. They were one of the world's biggest banks, Credit Suisse. And after Credit Suisse is going to be Deutsche Bank. And then there still could be a whole bunch more. So there we go. Oh, thank you guys. Okay, excellent. Squiggles McJr. says Bitcoin. Let me just do an ad real quick. We have Bitcoin t-shirts at truthclothing.io. We have there. I'm even on the crypto page. We have cryptocurrency t-shirts. I'm wearing one of our t-shirts today, one of these propaganda shirts. But if you check out truthclothing.io, you can pick these up. Crypto future, Bitcoin saves, decentralize. So you can pick up some shirts and the Fed bumper sticker, Bitcoin bumper sticker. That's all there on our website. And we have those shirts in stock, ready to ship out. And if you want to buy them in bulk, message me. I'll give you a deal. But yeah, those are for crypto. Yeah, Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin was invented for the problems we're having right now. Okay. The problems we're having right now have to do with our banking system of using fractional reserve banking because it's susceptible to bank runs. So there was a bank run on Silicon Valley Bank, mostly because of Peter Thiel. And the bank the problem was that the Fed raised interest rates a lot. The value of existing debt went down and temporarily, and the bank had to sell it before they wanted to, and they took a loss. So did they crash the banks on purpose? That's what people are saying. Did they crash the banks on purpose? Well, the Fed raised rates awfully quickly without considering how much damage they might be doing, So the banks, well, you decide. Okay. So people are saying, they're crashing the banks on purpose to bring in USDC or CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. They did raise rates, and raising rates made the value of all existing debt go down temporarily, all of it. So any bank and all banks loan money to earn interest. So any bank could be in the same situation because they might have long dated debt that's gone down in value. And if people want their money, they have to sell it for a loss. And that's because of the Fed policy. So the Fed raising rates did lead to this bank collapsing and then a bank run, which was basically started by Peter Thiel. So as far as they doing it on purpose, while they are doing everything they can to restore confidence in the banking system. And it seems like, with the rescue of this bank, of Credit Suisse, or whatever they're doing. Let's see. Basically, their national bank said they're going to back them up. But then the same thing is going to have to happen to Deutsche Bank from the German government And so eventually, more money will probably be created. So if you look up Credit Suisse, thanks for the super sticker, Kernode. If you search for Credit Suisse, you get stories about how gold is going up in value. Gold is a very good investment in times of economic trouble because it doesn't have counterparty risk. That's all. So everything everything that doesn't have counterparty risk, people are buying. They bought a lot of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but they're buying gold, and then they're buying treasuries too. And treasury yields are down. So gold has gone up. We're thinking about getting some gold. Gold is definitely the safest. If I had to say that if you want your money to be safe tomorrow and 100 years from now, then you should buy gold, because probably it's good for both of those things. If you don't need the money for at least, maybe 5 years or something, and you'd like to take some risk, then you could buy Bitcoin, and you could end up getting crazy returns with it. But gold will keep your money safe. It's been money since the beginning of time. So, but it doesn't have the potential for explosive growth the same way that Bitcoin does. And then you can also buy gold stocks, which should go up with the price of gold going up. Let's see. Swiss authorities say they will back Credit Suisse. There are, how many banks there are? Globally, systemically important banks. There's 33 globally systematically important banks. Credit Suisse was one of them. And now they are going to be backstopped by their central bank, by the Swiss central bank. So the same thing's going to happen for Deutsche Bank. They have bad investments. Everybody knew Credit Suisse was bad for a long time. So it was simply a matter of time with them, different than Silicon Valley Bank, which wasn't even doing anything that weird. So the Swiss bank is going to back them up. We're going to back. I think it's safe to say, they're not going to allow. It seems like the policy is going to be to not allow banks to fail, or at least depositors to get wiped out, which maybe is different than bailing out the companies themselves. But it seems like the central banks are going to come to the rescue. So a few things are going to happen. I mean, for one thing, people are predicting that they're going to cut interest rates soon. Like, interest rates on short-term debt is lower than the Fed rate. So people are expecting the Fed to start cutting rates soon. And I think they meet next week. And people are looking at that, whether the central bank is so incompetent that they're always going to be too slow and react too late. They've probably won the battle against inflation, because a banking crisis is going to be deflationary or disinflationary, they say sometimes. But a banking crisis will probably be deflationary. So the Fed probably won't have to raise rates anymore. So probably they will cut rates and probably print money. So that's where I haven't run the poll yet. Let me run a poll. And thanks for the super sticker. Somebody gave me a super sticker. Let me see what people are saying in the chat. I appreciate that. That was Kernode, who sent a super sticker that says, "Hey, you." Thanks, Kernode. in a pound 99. Thanks. Hopefully you guys are doing okay in Europe. Yeah, the crisis spread to Europe today. So now it's European banks that people are worried about. Let's see. But right now, stocks are up going into tomorrow, like futures are up. Stock market wasn't down too bad today. Gold was up a little. Mostly oil was down, which means people are expecting a recession. So people are expecting a recession. Right now, it's being priced into everything. All the prices for stuff that people buy is going down. So I think it's just the beginning. I don't think things are safe. But we'll see. They're going to try to hold on to it as long as possible. As far as bringing in CBDC, central bank digital currencies, I don't think they have them prepared yet. I think they'll need to program those for a year. They'll have to work on those for a while before they can deploy them. So the theory that they're crashing the banks on purpose to usher in CBDCs, I don't see the evidence yet. And I don't see the evidence that they're trying to crash the banks on purpose. Seems like they're trying to save the banks. Oh, okay. But if they back up every deposit, if that's what they do, which is what these crazy billionaires are calling for, then we have socialized banking. It'll basically be like banking would become a utility, and they would be so heavily regulated because the government would say, oh, because if they're going to insure every dollar, then banks wouldn't be allowed to do anything risky. So it's the end of capitalism, the end of free markets as we know it, if they decide to do that. If it's just that you have to have insurance up to larger amounts, then banking is going to get more expensive. Banking will just be more expensive. It'll be kind of like having negative interest rates. So it's what Bitcoin was created for. You can hold Bitcoin securely for free, right? By having an app on your phone, relatively securely at no cost. No, there is no fee. So with banks, especially if they're going to guarantee your whole deposit, especially if you have a lot of money, they're going to charge you for it. How else can they do it? There's no other way to do it. They're going to have to charge you for it. Right now, banks aren't required to have all your money. If they are going to be required to, then you'll have to pay. So people would have to pay insurance on their money. So then other things suddenly are more attractive, like gold and gold, which doesn't have any storage fees, although you might pay somebody else to hold on to it for you. But that's why if you have somebody else hold your gold, you have to pay them to do it because they're not loaning your gold out to anybody else. So that's one reason we have fractional reserve banking is, it's to grow the economy. So there are more loans, there's more money in the system, but it's fragile. It requires confidence. So they're doing their best to make people confident. I'm thinking about trying to start a bank run, but it might be illegal. Like if you started a bank run right now by doing a LARP, because you can LARP a bank run. I have an idea for how to do it. You could do it on 4chan or something, but the government would seriously come after you if you were successful. If you successfully LARPed your way into a bank run, and this is how you do it. You'd say you go on 4chan, which is where all the LARPs happen, and you say, I'm an employee of a globally systemically important bank, right? And then you say, and you drop a lot of knowledge. You drop a lot of knowledge to make people think that you know what you're talking about. So you just talk about fractional reserve banking and how it's inherently unstable and how they're not able, and how they've taken these huge losses because of interest rates going up. Every bank is sitting on unrealized losses. Even Bank of America. So this is how I would do it. Let's see. I have the Bank of America chart. Let's see. Like right here. This is Bank of America. So you just say, look, what do you call people? Anons, right? On 4chan, you'd say Anons. Use their language. That's what you do. You mirror in order to gain, what do you call it? Trust. It's good to mirror who you're talking to. So when you're talking to people on 4chan, you call them retards or anons or whatever, and then they'll think, oh, you're one of us. So you go in there and you say, oh, I'm an employee at JP Morgan Chase or Bank of America. And then you explain fractional reserve banking and stuff. So they think you know what you're talking about. And then you say, okay, in 2008, the banks put withdrawal limits on accounts. There were apparently this happened. I don't remember. Apparently in 2008, there was a short time when some banks had withdrawal limits, like $200 or something. So right now we're thinking about taking money out of the bank to buy like gold, right? Possibly. So that might be impossible in the future. So anyway, you just say, you just say, like, you just go like this. Oh, it's going to happen on Friday. You just to say what everybody's been saying forever. Just say on Friday, they're going to wait. They're going to push everything out until Friday. And then and just try to hold on to it. Then when the markets close Friday, they'll announce something. And then it'll be what they call a bank holiday. Withdrawals will be restricted. And then we don't even know when you'll have access to your bank accounts. Just put that out there and try to start a bank run. So that's how I would do it. If I was so inclined. So it's not a big craze. It's funny for a lot of us. We've been waiting for the banks to fail, right? Like, what big shock? Like, to me, I just think, okay, the banks failed. Well, that's what they're set up to do. They're designed to fail if there's a bank run. And now that people realize their deposits aren't insured, they're pulling their money out. So that's a bank run. So banks are going to fail. That's how they're set up, especially since the Fed raised rates so much. It decreased the value of existing debt. So, not surprising. We've been waiting. We've been warning you. That's why we have silver and cryptocurrency. Thanks for the super sticker, Twisted TB. Does that stand for tuberculosis? All right. So that's the news on the banks. I haven't asked my poll question yet. I keep threatening to. Let's see. Start a poll. I'll throw. All right, let's see. I have 3 choices, so we'll see what you guys say. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, crypto, or bullets in cans. And that'd be canned food and stuff. Because then people say, oh, what's most important is actually having land, or people have different opinions about what to do with your money if you're going to pull it out of the bank. Should you buy land? Productive farmland is a good buy. Productive land is a good buy. All right. So ChatGPT, GPT-4 came out. That's the financial news. Hopefully you guys are well invested. There's a possibility. I would just say, there's a possibility things will really rip, that we haven't seen the last of this whole crisis yet. I think it's still developing. So there's a chance when people realize what's going on that you won't be able to find gold or silver. And crypto could be really expensive, but things could crash too, because everything could crash all at once. Well, it's hard to predict, but over the long term, oh yeah. And it's not, this show isn't financial advice. This show is not financial advice. All right. GPT-4 came out. Do you guys want to see a video about it? I'll show you a video about GPT-4. You guys doing okay? Remember to support your favorite streamer. Remember to tip your drivers and waiters and stuff. Also, so I tell people, make sure to tip your drivers and your servers.
OpenAI released GPT-4 yesterday, and I stand here in awe of its littiness. It's by far the most savage generative text model I've ever spoken to. I'm literally shaking right now because I'm afraid I just became obsolete, but more on that later. It's the successor to the ChatGPT 3.5 model that powers ChatGPT, but has a few new features that change everything. Here are 7 things you need to know right now. First, GPT-4 stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, with the 4 representing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's currently available to try out today if you're a ChatGPT Pro member, but API access is behind a waitlist. Big clients are already using it in production, like Microsoft Bing Chat, Duolingo for language learning, and at big banks to help them not collapse. The second thing to know is that GPT-4 is smarter, which is described in detail in this paper. Like it passed the bar exam in the top 10%, unlike GPT-3, which was in the bottom 10%. That's great news for humanity because it's thinking like Shakespeare, let's kill all the lawyers. And not just that, but it's also acing AP exams, which is good enough to get you college credit. When it comes to programming questions on LeetCode, it's able to solve the easy ones, but still fails for the most part on the medium and hard questions. It's basically where chess engines were at in the early 90s. Good chess players could still beat the engines back then, but 10 years later, they didn't have a chance. Third, GPT-4 can now handle 25,000 input words, compared to about 3,000 for GPT-3. This is huge because it means you can feed the AI more context relative to the task at hand. This is the feature that's going to make me homeless, because now you can take the documentation for any library that you want to learn, then prompt the AI for a step-by-step guide, and it creates the perfect tutorial. In a matter of months, if not days, we'll start seeing documentation pages with context-aware built-in tutorial generators. They'll always be up to date, even though GPT-4's training cutoff was in 2021. For example, I asked it for a tutorial about angular signals, which is a new feature just announced recently. Understandably, its initial response was not correct. However, I went to the README for angular signals, copied it, and pasted it into my prompt. Its response was a near-perfect tutorial.
They took our job!
It did hallucinate an NPM package called signals, but errors like that will become more rare as developers tailor their documentation for these AI prompters. What's crazy though is that it can do the opposite job as well. In this example, I wrote 5 different functions and asked it to document them for me. It did a pretty good job, which means humans don't even really need to write docs anymore. You could also use it to analyze your code, like if you have a smart contract and want to find security vulnerabilities, or it can translate code from one language to another, like a digital Rosetta Stone. In fact, the website Rosetta Code might be just as obsolete as me now. And just wait a few months until GPT-4 is integrated into GitHub Copilot. It'll be capable of handling far more context to make predictions that align with your specific dependencies, or possibly do project-wide AI debugging. If you're not careful, the Copilot may become the captain. But that's not all. The fourth thing you need to know is that it's a multimodal model that can also accept images as an input. Like this dude sketched out a website on a piece of toilet paper, then seconds later, it created a shitty website.
Going from hand-drawn, beautiful art to working website.
You'll be able to take your Figma designs, then generate a web application for them in your favorite framework. Actually, screw Figma, you might as well just prompt Midjourney for your designs directly. Also with images, homework is completely obsolete now. GPT-3 was already writing B-grade term papers, but now kids can just take a screenshot of their math problems and get a solution in seconds. However, GPT-4 does have some drawbacks. It's noticeably slower than other models, so if the response time is important, you'll likely want to use a different model. In addition, it'll likely be expensive, especially if you're providing a ton of tokens as content. context, because currently in the API, you're billed per token, where a token roughly equals one word. The sixth thing you should know is that it's based, or at least diet woke. People have speculated that OpenAI is coding a political agenda into the AI because it refused to write poems about Trump, but would do so about Biden. GPT-4, though, didn't hesitate to spit these bars for Trump. However, it is 82% more likely to deny a disallowed prompt, which is not good news for our old friend, do anything now, Dan, which is sad because the vast majority of ChatGPT users are only there to trick it into doing bad things. And as a developer, the final thing you should know is that you can now pass it a system message to change its behavior. If you have access to the API, you can use this feature to give your chatbot its own custom persona or context to solve a specific problem.
The Earth is like a pancake, flat as can be, not round like a ball, believe you me.
I have a whole video about the API on my second channel if you want to learn more. I keep telling myself I'm done making videos about AI, but every other day some crazy new thing comes out. The world is changing before our
God dang it. My mute button like kept remuting. So I stole this person's content. Gosh darn. They must be a YouTube channel. Let's see. Let me see if I can give a shout out to the YouTube channel. The name of the channel that I stole that content from, so they get proper attribution, is...
It is March 15th, 2023.
Fireship. And that video has 255,000 views. So yeah, GPT-4 just came out. It definitely changes things. Well, it can do all these different things now, like pass the bar exam, pass AP tests. It could pass the medical. I believe I saw somebody say it could pass a medical licensing exam. So it can do, it just makes you think, okay, then what do you teach people to do? If ChatGPT knows the answers and everyone has a smartphone and everyone can have access, or anyone can have access to ChatGPT, then it seems to me, at least, and I don't know if I'm crazy, but it seems to me the value of knowledge has gone down significantly with ChatGPT. If knowledge is available to everyone, and so it won't be free, I guess, right? He said you have to pay for it. So maybe it won't be free. But maybe eventually there will be a version that's free that knows everything. So it seems to me that the value of people who are very knowledgeable, it has to go down, and that doesn't become the most important thing. And that's doctors, lawyers, smart people, particularly doctors and lawyers, who have to study for a long time to get in their head to memorize a bunch of stuff, right? Doctors especially have to do it for a really, really long time. They have to study to pass their exams. If the computer can do it, and the computer can do diagnostic, it can do, diagnose things, and it can do the work of an attorney, then do you still send people to school to learn all that stuff? And if so, why? That's like the existential question that I would be asking, is if the information is available to everyone and it's competent, if it is competent, then why are we still sending people to school to learn all that stuff? And especially spending lots and lots of money educating people for years, just so that they can absorb enough information to be able to pass bar exams and pass licensing exams. And then when it comes to school, then, just out of practicality, yes, it is valuable to know information. And I watch Jeopardy. So like one thing I do is I watch Jeopardy every day. And I'm pretty good. I'm not good enough to compete. Well, not very well, at least, as far as I can tell. Because I usually miss Final Jeopardy, I think. But on Celebrity Jeopardy, I'd be at aces. Celebrity or High School Jeopardy. But Celebrity Jeopardy, I'd do really well because the questions are really easy. But they have a computer. The AI can do Jeopardy. But they make it, if you watch, it's really hard. Like when I watch Jeopardy, I think, oh, how would the AI do this? Like the questions it's not just a simple who did this on this date or whatever. It's the questions are kind of written in a way where you have to interpret them, and some of them are word games and stuff. So it's interesting they created AI that can play that game. But it's still valuable. I mean, those people still have that information. But seriously though, I mean, if you're training doctors, I don't know. I would just think, oh, you just need to train them how to use the AI the best. And other skills suddenly become more important than just the knowledge. It's people who can use the knowledge the best. And maybe it means that innate ability is more valued and intelligence is more valued. It's like more intelligent. It's more important what your IQ is and how you're able to absorb information than what you've actually learned, because nobody needs to learn anything anymore. I mean, you just have to ask, like, okay, if you're saying yes, it is still valuable, then you just have to, like, why? If the AI can do it, why is it valuable? Tell you what will be valuable, plumbers, electricians. Some of those jobs are tough. Delivery drivers, it's going to be hard. It's hard for the AI to figure that out. Driving even is tough. The AI is good, but it's still very difficult because sometimes you have to look at the other driver and see what they're doing. Sometimes people are unpredictable. So there are certain things humans are good at. But some of the stuff like knowledge, the computer's going to be not just as good as, but better. Think about doctors. Doctors theoretically have to keep reading to keep up to date with all the latest changes in science, whatever. But if the AI can do that automatically. So the AI will probably, if it comes down to it, when they test it, I'm just saying, when they test it against doctors, they'll find that the AI is better, probably, or more consistent. So then even a good doctor will ask the AI, because the AI will typically give you the right answer. And you at least want to double check. So it's kind of a democratization of intelligence. It's certainly a democratization of information. So we're going to see a lot of stuff. And then the AI, AI everything. Robots are harder. Humans can still do a lot of stuff that's harder for robots to have to do, like picking things and just correct. Yeah. We are impressive. Like, it is impressive what humans can do. It's not super easy to replicate all of it. But some of it. So, and we're getting there. Eventually, all of it, I guess. I told you, eventually this show is going to run itself. This show will just run itself. I'll just say, oh, here's some ideas. this is I'll tell it, this is what I want my personality to be tonight. Like whether it's kind of like aggravated or depressed or like whatever mood you want to, you put that on and program it all in there. That's the future. I'm here to tell you. So I'll tell you the results of my poll. Yeah, I'll tell you the results of my poll, and then I'll take a few phone calls. Are you guys doing okay? Hopefully people gave me some coffees. You want me to tell you about doing a job? I've been driving. You want me to tell you about DoorDash? I can tell you about it. I've been doing it. It doesn't pay that great, but it is an example of capitalism. And I can tell you how to get free lunch if you want to steal. If you want to steal, which is bad. But they make it easy now. I can tell you that. I can tell you how to rob a bank. I worked at a bank and they told me what they do when somebody robs the bank. And I was like, oh, I have like inside information. And I was shocked at how easy it is. And they even tell you kind of what you have to do not to get caught. So I can tell you that if you want. You don't need a gun or anything to rob a bank. It's very easy. And they'll let you get out the door. I mean, they'll let you out. And there are ways you can avoid, when shit hits the fan, we'll tell you. But it is possible. Back in the day, we used to really like bank. Remember bank robbers? People who robbed from the banks were heroes, right? All right. I'll open up the phone. 650-GAY taxi is the number. Yeah, capitalism. Capitalism. It means you have capital and you make money from it. If you have land, you grow things or you rent it to somebody. If you have a vehicle, you drive it and have people pay you for it. So that's what people do for DoorDash. If you don't have a vehicle and then you can't do it. And so then if you don't have a vehicle, you need a bank to give you a loan to buy one so you can work. That's capitalism. That's how banks work and stuff. It's not bad. It's not too bad. Could pay better, but thanks. Oh, let me see where my 650-GAY taxi is the number if you want to call in. You guys, I'll show you the results of my poll. Bullets in cans wins the poll. So not gold. Gold and silver beat twice as good as Bitcoin. See, this is why I can't even talk about Bitcoin too much. Most people say bullets and cans. So personally, I'm in the both. I like cryptocurrency and I like gold and silver. Anything without counterparty risk. But what people are buying is treasuries right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If anybody wants to call in, you can. Oh, I got to check Buy Me a Coffees. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Basil of Insider bought a coffee. Said, thank you for playing the video. First true laugh I had today. Thanks for that. David V got 3 coffees. Says, love your show, Nathan. Can you do a show on In-Q-Tel and its history? Okay. In-Q-Tel and its history. Do a show on In-Q-Tel. Thanks for the 3 coffees. That was from yesterday, I think. And then from a few days ago, Basil Insider got 2 coffees. Said, great double show. Love when you do topics you really care about, like finance and investments. Please keep it up. All right. Thanks. I do care about these. All right. So let's see. You guys are responsible for making this more desirable than driving the dinner hour. So if you want to, I think I got one coffee for this show. So if you want to drop any more coffees, like I said, because I do have choices. You could drop a coffee or become a member. Buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Usually I get more coffees per hour than if I was out driving, but support your favorite streamer. Knowledge is not free. 650-429-8294. Oh, and nobody might call in either. I haven't posted the number. Oh, and thanks for the super chats. I did get some super chats. Just a few. Thanks, Parody Bear, who dropped the $2 super chat. Thanks for that. Tom Buddha says, I'm just start going through a box of $50. Yeah. Just look for 1964 and earlier. I was calling around at prices for silver and stuff. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey Nathan, how's it going?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Just getting the garden ready for spring.
For the apocalypse?
Yeah, I guess so. Probably won't have enough food though.
No.
To get me through the. I don't know. Yeah, 'cause I haven't even started growing it yet.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. That's all right. We probably food will still be available and stuff. It might even get cheap. I mean, things might get cheaper because everybody doesn't want to spend money anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to have just a bunch of canned food and waters saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you prepared?
I have water. I don't have a lot of canned food and stuff. I'm not too worried about. I'm not as worried about that stuff. And I figure if I have something valuable that I can trade, that I'll be okay. Like I still think people will accept precious metals or cryptocurrency. Like I still think there will be such a thing as money, something people use for money. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I don't know for
the gold
sure.
and silver might.
Yeah. Yeah.
The crypto, who knows? The
Who
grid went
knows?
down or something.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, yeah, who knows? But
food's going to be really, I mean, that really will be if things got really bad, I mean, right? Food and water's going to be the most valuable.
We'll see if things really break down. I mean, if things really break down, then yeah. But I don't know if I mean, we're not there yet. We're not like Mad Max yet. Right now, it's just banks and stuff, and they'll probably print more money, and probably it'll just be inflation, and we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I don't even know. It does seem kind of intentional. Do you think it's intentional?
No, not. I mean, no. I mean, it depends what you mean. The Fed raised rates intentionally, and that kind of caused the failure. But otherwise, do they want banks? I don't think they want banks to fail. I don't think they want regional banks to. I don't think that's what they want. But
yeah. Well, if it has a domino effect, and then they basically have to get everyone on the CBDC or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think they even have CBDCs ready. And anyway, all they do is talk shit about crypto. So I don't even know how they rotate from talking shit about crypto all the time to saying, "Oh, everybody, now we're going to use crypto's cool." It's kind of a weird.
Yeah,
strategy.
maybe they want to get like a certain strata of wealthy out of the way first, the bankers, before they move in for the digital. I don't know. It's just like, because there's got to be different levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like like this, like people whose names we don't even know that are above the bankers.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Definitely.
Who knows? I'm not an expert on it. Obviously, you know a lot more than I do about that. But I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's a kind of a. I'm not super worried about it, but just feel like it is good to have. I mean, I even have speaking of just being ready, I have Blue Yeti, or a Blue Yeti solar generator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just in case there is a power, like something
Yeah.
happens with the power, you got like, you know, you can still run a heater or a,
Yeah, right.
even a coffee grinder or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you can buy, so it's like a portable solar panel array of some sort.
Well, it's just a big square thing.
Mm-hmm.
It basically can power. It's like really strong,
Mm-hmm.
so run probably like a small fridge on it or something.
Mm.
And then it just has a plug-in solar panel array,
Mm-hmm.
and you can
Yeah.
get like multiple things. So that, yeah, I mean, then there's the problem though, if there's not enough sun, you can't really charge it. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's also smaller ones like Jackeries that have, and I have one of those too. But
Yeah,
just
I
get
have one I got a long time ago that would like power cell phones. It's just a thing that unfolds into a solar panel, and it has USB ports, so it could charge like cell phones and stuff. But that's all I have.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's just good to be prepared, I guess, just in case. Because it's like if everyone's prepared, then you don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's like if you got yours, if you just spend a little bit of money on a few things, and the more people that do that, there's less people are going to be freaking out and like trying to find food. And I mean, if that happens, I'm not really planning on that to happen, but it's just in case, you know, you never know these days. So
Yeah, it's good to be prepared. Yeah, for sure. So,
but anyway,
that's
didn't
cool,
have
man.
much to say. Just I don't know why no one's calling you. It's kind of weird.
That's all right. We'll see. No big deal.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, man. See ya.
Peace.
Peace. Oops. All right. Thanks for the tips over on Rockfin. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Michelle Obama's a man. Who says, to me, this whole chat GPT is scary in terms of it becoming the ministry of truth. Yeah, well, it will kind of do that. But right now, the ministry of truth is like Wikipedia. And that's bad too. Hey, you're on the air.
Oh yeah, this is Perry there. I was playing with GPT before, and I got it to admit Ed McMahon worked for Publisher Clearinghouse, but
oh yeah,
I just playing with it now. It's woke now. It's saying I can't remember what the hell I said before to make it change its mind, but
yeah,
I was wondering if you could.
I saw that it said that.
Show, I was wondering if you could end the show with "Do You Dare," and I sent you a coffee just a second ago.
End the show with "Do You Dare" because you sent a coffee. I have to.
No. Remember the song you used to play from the lady that broke into YouTube? And
yeah. Play the video of. Yeah, I don't know if my computer I had that video on died, so I have to see if I have that video anywhere. I have to look for it. I don't even know if I have it because it was on my other computer.
On YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. What's her name? I can't remember her name.
Nassim Agdam.
Yeah, Nassim. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can play that, especially since you gave me a coffee to play it, so I'll play it. That's cool.
No, I sent the coffee for a different song.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good enough. That's okay.
All
right, man.
I was just wondering if you could end the show with "Do You Dare?"
Okay. I used to
you
do
did
that.
get the one you playing the too darn much, so.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, cool. I can't find the extended full song. Okay, I found it. Okay, I found it. Oops. Thanks, Jacob's Ladder for the tip. And thanks, Vogan Filter for the tip. Vogan Filter's awesome. Thanks, you guys, over on Rockfin. Hey, I think there's more people on Rockfin today. How are you guys doing? Good to see everybody. And thanks for the tips over there. That's cool. Thanks for the, and that might be the show. That might be the whole show. Let's see. I'll see if anybody else dropped anything. Oh, Parody Bear. Okay. Parody Bear says, could you get away with playing the song Bob effing Science, bro? Oh, B.O.B. by B.O.B. I'll play the Nassim song today. I have it here. All right. I'll hang out for a little bit in case anybody else wants to call. It's 6:30. Okay. Thanks, people who tune into the show. Appreciate it. Thanks, people who support the show. Twisted TB. Twisted TB says, probably easier to get money sending those emails, or do you say you are a prince and need to transfer money to someone's bank? Yeah. I was gonna tell you guys about how to rob a bank and stuff. No, I won't tell you guys that, though. I won't tell you how to steal and stuff. That's wrong. It's wrong to steal. Okay, I'll end the show with this song. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you want to support the show, we have t-shirts at truthclothing.io. And you can also do the other thing I told you about. You can do that anytime. And I will end with this video. Let's see. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And we'll see how things go tomorrow.
Do you dare not to kill for passion? Not to wear bloody fashion? Not to sell
this doesn't.
soul to the world of money, fame, bloody joy, solid dead boy.
This doesn't have all the visuals, but it is good. We have Nassim shirts. Truthclothing.io. We have shirts memorializing her.
Do you dare to walk in an opposite direction?
There you go. That wasn't the full video. I have more of that, but there you go. By popular request. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. You control the Lift the Veil show with your support, so you decide. But I'll try to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I usually do the show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. All right. See you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.